Welcome back to Cosplay on a Budget. I'm your host, Miss Cosplay, and in today's video I'm going to show you guys how I made my very own Grillby mask. Now this mask has to be one of the cosplay items that I am most proud of, and that's probably simply because just of the flames. Now if you're like me and my family, you go through a lot of water bottles, and although we do recycle, I wanted to see if I could find some other way to reuse the water bottles. So with a little ingenuity, I made all of the flames out of water bottles. And the best part about this is that he lights up. So he actually does look like flames. So if you guys want to learn how to make your very own Grillby mask, then keep on watching. Okay, so to make the flames, we're going to be using some plastic bottles. Now, my family goes through a lot of water bottles, and if we don't recycle them, we try to find something that we can actually make out of them. So this is a good way to use up some plastic bottles if you have them. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to be poking in right at the bottom here. So we just want to cut off this little bit. And then we're going to be going up the side. And then when we get towards the top area, because we don't need the lid and this hard piece right here, we're just going to be going around like this. And now the pieces that you cut off, you can go ahead and throw in your recycling bin. And what we're going to do now is we're going to go to the opposite side of the bottle where we just cut. And just kind of cut that as well. And then we're going to be cutting each piece in half. Now as you can see, I've already removed the label and tried to remove as much of the paper as I could. If there's a little bit left, it's fine, it doesn't really matter. And also your cuts don't have to be straight because they're all going to get heat set or hit with the heat gun in a little bit, so it doesn't really matter. And there you go. So one bottle will give you 4 flames. So I'm going to go ahead and do this to a bunch more bottles, and then we'll start doing the heat gun. And whenever you're working with the heat gun, you want to make sure you have a few things, especially when you're going to be melting plastic, and that is some heat-safe gloves, a mask for your face, and also some eye protection. Now I'm just going to be using some sunglasses, but yeah. So you want to go ahead and get these things on before you start melting your plastic, because that stuff is just not good to breathe. Now I just borrowed a pair of pliers from my stepdad, and I'm going to be using this to hold on to the plastic while I hit it with the heat gun, because you don't want your hands anywhere near what you're going to be heating up. The plastic itself doesn't really get that hot, but the heat from the heat gun will burn you. So you want your hand as far away from where you're heating as possible. Okay, so that's the shape that I got from this one, And I don't really care that it's not really at a point. If nothing else, I can always cut it at that point. But I like the organic shape that it gives because each one of your plastic pieces is going to curl differently. So you don't really have to worry about it being completely perfect. And yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and do this for all the pieces, and I will show you all what we have whenever we're done, because then we can move on to painting. Now, I would do the painting before I did this, but the painting technique that I'm going to be doing involves glue, and that would just end up really, really messy and kind of ruining the whole thing if I did glue and then use the heat gun on it. So I'm going to go ahead and do this to all the pieces. So just to see if the glue method was going to be the best way to go, I did also do some tests with just brushing on acrylic paint, but that was way too opaque. So then I tried watering down the paint, but that left weird dark parts. So yeah, after testing, I realized that the glue method was going to be the best way to go. So the first thing I did was I put some glue in this little container, and then I added 20 drops of red food coloring and 2 drops of yellow food coloring, just so it would have an orange undertone instead of a pink undertone. I then painted all the bottoms of the flames with the glue. Now I put 2 coats on just to make it solid, since the glue wants to separate on the slick plastic during the first coat. Total, there are about 57 flames. You can do more or less depending on your mask. So next I'm going to start on the orange, and I'm going to put that a little bit into the red so that it blends a bit, and up until right at the top of the flame. For the orange color, I used 10 drops of yellow food coloring and 5 drops of red. So now all the orange is painted on, and I'm going to repeat the process with the yellow, filling in the tip of the flame and bringing it down into the orange a bit. And for the yellow color, I just used 5 drops of yellow. For the mask, I'm going to actually be using the mask that I used for my marionette costume last year. I'm just going to be deconstructing it by taking off the cheeks and all of the paper mache on it. For the balaclava, I just used a simple pattern that I will link down in the description, but I didn't cut out the eye parts, and I've sewn it up the front and about halfway down the back. I'm leaving that part open so I can add Velcro, because once I have the flames on, there is no way I'm going to be able to pull the fabric over my head. There just would not be enough stretch to it. So I'm going to be adding Velcro so I can actually take the mask on and off. I added the Velcro, and I've also gone ahead and marked where the eye holes will be. I've also cut quite a bit more on the mask, and this is because when it was the marionette mask, I realized that it was very hard to breathe out of, and I kept having to take it off, but this mask won't be as easy to take off, so I needed more air holes so that I could breathe better. So next I glued the mask inside the balaclava, and I cut the eye holes. I will be painting the eyes white. You can also put sheer white fabric in your mask. This already had the mesh in it, so I don't mind just painting it. So I went ahead and put the mask on a wig head just to make this part a bit easier. And I've just gone ahead and pinned the lights in place so I know where to mark, to know where to cut little holes out of, because I'm actually going to be stringing these through from the inside of the mask so the wires won't be on the outside. But I just have it set up so the battery pack is in the back. I actually ended up tucking it around front into my dress shirt pocket when I wore it, but I knew that I wanted to have it tucked into my clothing. And then I just went about wrapping the lights around the top of the head and marking where all the lights were. So this is the lights poke through, and I just glued them in place with my hot glue gun using a low temperature. You want to use a low temperature so that way you don't mess up any of the wires. I also try to make them face back a little bit, simply because I knew I was going to try to make the flames point in that direction. So this is the inside with all the wires. There are a lot of wires, but the wires are actually really soft, so when I put this on, I can't even feel them. Next up, I'm going to be painting the base of the lights red, and this way they will blend in more with the flames, and then I'm just going to seal them with a bit of clear nail polish. I also waited to paint the head part red until later on, but I would recommend doing it before you glue on the flames, otherwise it's a pain in the butt. Okay, so here are all the flames glued on, and I just used hot glue to glue all these down. And it was here that I realized that I should have painted the base of the balaclava red where the flames would be, so I had to go do that, and like I said, I would recommend doing it before you glue the flames on. But I also decided to paint more of the flames for the face, and the reason I didn't use more plastic for this was because 1, I didn't have any more flames, and 2, I realized that it would have gotten in the way of the eyes and made putting it on even harder. So here's the finished mask. I actually glued some of the flames together to make them point where I wanted them to. I went ahead and glued the glasses on. I just took the arms off, and then while wearing it, I put the glue gun on a low temperature and put some glue on the nose pads and then set them on my nose where I wanted them to be. Make sure you use a low temp so you don't burn yourself through the mask. So this is the mask from all sides, and next I'll insert a clip of the mask in the dark and all the light settings. And that's it. That's all I did to make this really cool light up mask. If you like this video, then go ahead and leave a like, and subscribe for more videos, and ring that bell for notifications whenever I upload. And if you guys like what I do here and want to support my channel, then go ahead and head on over to my Ko-fi site. All donations go to more cosplay supplies so that I can continue to bring you guys more videos. I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!